the island of Ingoya, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the oceanography and the features here and talk a little bit about why we study oceanography. We're basically going around a rocky headland here, and up around the corner we're going to come into a small pocket beach, very sandy with lots of shell material up on the beach. And interestingly, this location has been heavily glaciated, and it has a series of raised beaches up on land. Okay, we're coming around the headland, and maybe you can see it, but there's a tower in the background, and this is known as Tower Bay. Interestingly enough, that tower is the tallest structure in Scandinavia, which is interesting. It's not a skyscraper, it's a radio tower. Hello again. Here we are at the pocket beach that I spoke about from the boat. You can see the waves are coming in, and essentially they're filling the bottom, and the tops start going faster than the bottoms, and they break, and they're transporting sediment, and you can see the water's a bit turbid here, and coming in and crashing and moving sand and sediment along the way, spilling around. Down in the corner there was a big pile of shells on deposit. Basically the storm that we were feeling yesterday was moving that material and depositing it in the corner. Back behind the beach essentially is the berm here, and then some marshy grass materials that will help keep the beach from eroding. And then behind this are some old storm deposits with shells all over the place. So look down the beach. Some people in there for scale. Okay, we have a feature here known as the rack line, where the last high tide came up here and deposited, in this case, a lot of kelp and seaweed. But notice down here in the sand this reddish brown color, and that's in fact garnet that's been weathered out of the rocks. It's a heavier mineral, and it stays up onto the beach like this. It gets deposited. Here's a bit of the sand flat exposed, and interestingly, if you look down here, you can see these ripples, and that's caused from the water coming in and out. And unlike a river where the water's flowing just in one direction, the water's swashing back and forth here, so they tend to be more rounded and symmetric rather than asymmetric. Lots of kelp in here, lots of marine animals, crustaceans, bivalve mollusks calling this home, and lots of seabirds around having some food. Again, the modern beach, and as you follow it back inland, we have this grass here, and then up above that you have some dunes, and beyond that you have a bunch of grassy, mossy features, and under those are ancient beaches. Difference day can make. The wind dropped, the sea is settled. Yesterday we could hardly make it around Goose Island here, and it is very, very calm now. Essentially there are no winds, the sea is just calming down, and today we're heading out to deep waters and about 200 meters, 500 to 600 feet, in search of deep water clams. The winds have been down now for 3 days. You can see the sea is completely relaxed. We just have small breezes, some swells. And so, what is the ultimate restoring force of waves in the oceans? Think about it. Here is an example of a typical rocky coastline, and if we look down here we see beautiful tide pools with all sorts of critters in there and plants. Very diverse, important parts of the coastal system. Good afternoon. What I'd like you to do now is to introduce yourself to the people around you, tell them who you are and where you're from, and with the help from Diana and Anna, I would like you to contemplate the following questions. First of all, why should we even study the oceans? And why are the oceans important? Once you've thought about that and discussed it for about 5 or 10 minutes, we'll hear from some other oceanographers who were asked that same question. Okay, good luck. Hello again. Beautiful sunset here in Ingoya. And Diana and Anna, if you don't mind, please stop this so the students can consider the question before we hear from others. Thank you. This is Will Ambrose, professor of marine biology at Bates College in Maine. Will, tell me why it's important to study oceanography.
Well, as I'm sure you'll learn in your first lecture, oceans cover 72-ish percentage of the Earth's surface, and probably 90% of the area that's actually occupied by plants and animals. So just from a percentage perspective, it's the most important ecosystem on the Earth's surface. But more importantly than that, or as important as that, it's got an important role to play in climate because it takes up a lot of CO2, store CO2, affect the climate, weather. So if we want to understand how the Earth functions, we need to know how 72% or more of the Earth's surface operates. Plus, it's really important to have a good time when you're doing your work, and this is a pretty good office. And for me, it beats spending all my time at a lab bench. I mean, look at the surroundings here.
This is Maddie. She's a PhD candidate at Iowa State University, and she's up here in Ingoya, Norway. Maddie, what do you like about marine science research?
What I like about marine science research? Well, I don't know. Iowa's not very close to any oceans, so it's a little unusual, I guess. But it's a beautiful landscape to be working in. There's a lot of interesting problems that we're trying to solve. And some very important questions about climate and paleoclimate to investigate.
This is Dr. Michael Carroll from Aquaplaniva. He's a senior researcher for the Climate and Ecosystem Group. Tell me why the oceans are important, Michael.
Well, the oceans are important first and foremost because they cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface. So they are much more widespread than any type of land masses, mountains, anything you can think of. The second thing is that they are one of the least explored habitats on this Earth's surface. We know, I think, more about the moon than we know about many of the open ocean and deep ocean areas. So they're largely unexplored. And the third thing is that they provide a number of ecosystem services to us as humans at the top of the food chain. They provide food for us, they provide habitats for us, they provide recreational opportunities, and so I think everybody on this planet has some link, strong link to the oceans.
Hi, I am Irene Valles Tartero. I work in Netherlands in a marine research institute.
So why is it important to study the oceans, Irene?
It is important because it seems unreal that still nowadays we don't know what it is happening in the ocean. So it is really important for all the climate in the Earth.
This is Dr. Rob Witbard from the Netherlands Institute of Sea Research. Rob, tell us why it's important to study the oceans.
Well, I think we are all dependent on it. I think that 70%, maybe 80% of all people in the world are living along the coasts, and we we know actually so little about it. It is influencing the climate system. It is providing us food, and yeah, well, we send rockets to the moon and to Mars, and we spend only a little money on sea research, which is a bit strange in my view. But there's lots and lots of things to discover. So recently we went deep sea fishing in New Zealand, and in one trawl we discovered 3 new species of fish. So I think it is really important to get a better understanding of how the system is working, how it is influencing the atmosphere, how well, if you work in the field, you start realizing how dependent we are of the ocean.
I know this is very exciting, but that clam is open and filtering water right now. Some of the other ones are too. There's a nice one right here. This big Arctic Icelandica. Actually in a normal position, that it would find itself buried in the sediment. Everyone in here is looking actually quite healthy and nice. Rob and Irene are redeploying the lander site that has the Arctic Icelandica live caught clams in there, monitoring their gaping activity in each of the little canisters there. They've been marked with calcine, which is a biofluorescence, to put an exact line in the shell so it can be accurately recorded. They're going to be put back out in the bay today. And this is Aubrey, who is a sophomore at Iowa State University up here in the Arctic for the first time. How's it going, Aubrey?
It's going good.
All right, what are you doing today?
We're going to go collect the lander.
What's the lander?
It's got clams in it, and then some of the people are going to study them back at the shop.
Okay, cool. Okay, this is Rob again and Rene going out to deploy the lander out in Tower Bay. Deep water sampling, day 3. Mixed luck so far. Maybe the next one.
Alright, both Al and Dan have cooked dinner.
This is too big, I need...
Al's gonna need help getting this fish. Al apparently has a monster at the end of his line.
Okay, I need a video of this because I don't think I'm going to land it.
Don't worry.
Okay, good. Okay, hello again. So I'll see you in a few days. And in the meantime, read through your syllabus. Go through the nuts and bolts. I want you to be thinking about a question that you can ask me on Thursday. I'll be jet lagged, but I'm looking forward to meeting you all. And before I go, one last look at the beautiful North Atlantic Ocean. We're going to learn a lot about it during this semester. It'll be a lot of fun. So come